Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back, I should say, to Lira in Law. And thank you very much for joining me on our usual Thursday evening get together. I'm grateful. Between 7:30 and 8:30, you have my full attention, and I hope that I have yours. Ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simon Kabatbat. I am your host tonight. I am a solicitor of 33 years post-qualification experience. I emphasize the post-qualification experience dahil nga hindi pa yung kasama yung pag-aaral ko at saka training. So I think if you add those, which is what's that, 6 years, 7 years, 7 years in total training and studies nga, then you are nearly 40 years in law. And I will bet you a lot of people watching me nga ngayon may not even have been born at the time I started. I embarked on my wish to take up law. So thank you very much again for joining me. And I'm a solicitor at Douglas Simon Solicitors. My office in London. My office has been we've been around. Oh gosh. Nearly 28 years na din kami. 28 years. So mas matanda ako sa opisina ko, of course. But so we've been around also for a little while, and we've been doing this a long time, and a lot of people who are a lot of my you friends and viewers will know that I've actually been broadcasting now for 5 years now. 5 years now. And some of the people who will hopefully say hello later on will attest to that. So anyway, been doing this a long time. Time is going so fast. Speaking of time that's April na tayo. Astonishing. April 2025. It never ceases to amaze me how time goes so fast. Too fast, really. Far too fast. And what a world we live in at the moment. It's been, I don't know, for want of a better phrase, challenging, exciting, especially in the world of politics at the moment. But let's park that for the moment, because tonight, ang pag-uusapan po natin, of course, are legal concerns that are important to you. And yun nga topic and as usual, we're going to have a look at topics that have been submitted for us to look at. And as usual, I've chosen a star question, and from that we have based our topic. So let me just read to you our star question for tonight. And salamat po if you're the one who sent this on, So ang viewer po natin sabi niya, okay lang po ba na twice a year mag-visit dito sa UK ang parents ko? 60 years old na, mag-stay nga lang sila for maximum 6 months every visit po. Pwede po bang mag-apply ng visit visa pabalik ng UK kahit 1 week pa lang sila sa Pilipinas? Salamat po. I like this question. I mean, as you know, I like questions nga that parang simple lang, but actually there's quite a bit more to it than meets the eye, as they would put it, So you post our question natin. So ang topic po natin ngayon is Visit Visa Explained. Of course, Easter's coming up, summer's coming up. A lot of you may be thinking, why not invite nanay, tatay, auntie, o mga anak nyo, So I'll be going through visit visas, So it's yung topic natin, Visit Visa Explained. So lots to unpack tonight. Also, of course, on top of that, marami din tayong mga questions, and our questions are actually great. Also, we're touching on skilled worker. We're also dealing with when you submit the application, mga ganon. So lots of interesting topics to be looking at. So promises as usual to be a very interesting night, and hopefully you can keep me company throughout. Now, bago tayo pag-uusapan natin topic natin, before we launch into our topic, we're going to take a very, very short break. Saglit nga lang po. Come join back in a few seconds. Welcome back po. Welcome back. And thank you again for joining me tonight. Our usual Thursday get together at Lira in Law. Ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simon Kabatbatayan. And as I said, I am your host. Ang topic po natin ngayon, Visit Visa Explained. Okay, now, lots of things to talk. Okay, Visit Visa is actually it's one of those topics nga I always get asked about. No, there's never been a time when I've not been asked about visit visas. I would say siguro at least 3-4 times a week, no, at least. And when it's when holidays are coming like Christmas now or Easter, of course Easter's coming up. Also summer holidays. I get even more questions. So it's a good topic actually. And thank you again for the star question. Now, if I hope that I don't cough on you. If I do, my apologies in advance. Meron akong sipon. So it may be that I take a kind of water break, in between. Now, so unang-una nga po, visit visa. So as usual, what is it? No? What's a visit visa? Yeah. Now, let me just read to you. This is actually from the Home Office. This route, visit visa route, sabi ng Home Office, this route is for a person who wants to visit the UK for a temporary period, usually up to 6 months, for purposes such as tourism, visiting friends or family, carrying out a business activity, or undertaking a short course of study. Each visitor must meet the requirements of the visitor route, even if they're traveling as, for example, a family group, a tour group, or a school party. Simple? Not really. Okay. So that's, if you like, a very short definition of the visit visa route. But there's so much more to it. Now, do you know? Not everyone needs a visit visa. So, do you need even a visit visa? Now, obviously, kung Britong kayo, you're British, or indeed you have indefinite leave to remain, or you have other types of visas nga in the United Kingdom, hindi nyo kailangan separate visit visa. Of course, if you're Irish also, you don't need a visit visa. The people who would need a visit visa are what they call visa nationals. Now, yung lista po, the list of countries that are they consider to be visa nationals nga are on the Home Office website. There ang tawag po Appendix Visitor Visa National List. So if you Google that, lagay nyo Appendix Visitor Visa National List, you will see a whole load of countries. Yun ang lista ng mga bayan nga na kailangan magpasok ng visit visa in order to be able to visit the UK. And Philippines is on that list. Now, if you are not a visa national country, so non-visa nationals, you don't necessarily need a visit visa. You can apply for a visit visa, but you do now need what's called an electronic travel authorization. So there's a version in the US called ESTA. Ang tawag dito, ETA. No? So basically, it's an electronic travel authorization. It's not a visa. It's digital permission to travel. No? And from yesterday, the 2nd of April, EU nationals also now need to obtain electronic travel authorization before traveling to the United Kingdom. See, I do update you. No, I do look at the most up-to-date information for you, and that was only from yesterday. Yeah. So for a lot of people who are visa nationals, like if you're from the Philippines, kailangan natin ng visa. Visit visa. Now, there are different types of visit visas. There are more common ones nga, like a standard visit visa. There's, of course, the marriage visit visa. So, tingnan natin, okay? So, oftentimes, mga tao, tanong nila sa akin, what type of visit visa should they apply for? My answer is always the same. What is your purpose of entry? Yun ang unang-una. Okay? So, if you're coming in, so do you can you study, for example, on a visit visa? That's also asked, no? Yes, you can, but with very strict limits. So visitors can come into the UK to study for up to 6 months, for example, but the applicant must have been accepted onto a course of study to be provided by an accredited institution that's not state-funded school or academy. Okay, so when if you short courses, for example, that you want to attend, yeah, you can do that. So for example, also academics, no. So if you're seeking to visit for more than 6 months, you can even apply as an academic, no, for 12-month visa. But you need to be really highly qualified in your field of expertise, and currently working in that field at an academic institution. So basically, mga taong nag-aaral, sabihin natin, nag-aaral ka sa UP, no? Or Ateneo, yeah? And you want to come into the UK as an academic to do some research, for example. That you can do, and you can even stay for 12 months. So under a visit visa. So, but they're very restricted nga. And you need to, of course, disclose that pagka nagpasok yung application. Now, I'm also commonly asked, can you work in the UK with a visit visa? The answer is only in very limited cases. No? The general rule is visit visa, walang trabaho. Hindi ka pwede magtrabaho nga dito. But there are a very few people nga who coming to visit, but it's also work related. So for example, sabihin natin, doktor kayo, no? Clinical attachment, or dentista kayo, dental observer nga, no? So you may need written permission from the governing body, like the Nursing and Midwifery Council, for example, nga. Then you can come in to work. But again, visit visa nga lang, so usually it's limited to 6 months. Okay. You can also come into the UK as a visitor and be able to work if you are under what's called permit paid engagement. Now, anong ibig sabihin nun? So this is really for visitors who are, if you like, highly qualified in their field. So for example, you're coming in as part to teach, no? Okay. O kaya you're a qualified lawyer, you're going to provide advocacy for court or tribunal hearing in the UK because you're an expert, or you're a professional artist, no, entertainer, musician, professional sports person, no. But PPEs, that is the permit paid engagement, again, would usually only be for 6 months, and they should complete the engagement in the first month. So beware. So again, although you can, strictly speaking, work with a visit visa, very limited, I would actually even say, circumstances. Most people, and this is really what you're interested in, and yung viewer nga natin yung nagtanong question, this will come on what's called a standard visit visa. Coming to see friends, family, or just the country, okay? And just actually on that, a lot of people think, and it's not correct, no, na kailangan may mag-iimbita sa inyo. Hindi po yung tama. No? I'm not really sure how that's gone around, na kailangan meron kayong sponsor nga dito. No, but of course, it's a question of genuineness nga, or how you explain it nga to the Home Office why you're coming to the UK. I mean, a lot of people, of course, they may just wish to come to the UK to have a look. No, it's spring, they want to have a look. Kew Gardens, by the way, I was in Kew Gardens last week. It was great. So if you get a chance, go there. Anyway, I digress. So it could be that you're simply visiting the country itself, or maybe attending a concert, for example. But otherwise, most of my clients they want to come to visit family and friends. Okay? Now, what do you do, or rather, what should you watch out for pagka nagpasok yung application? So application, standard visit visa nga. Is there a money limit? Okay? Or is there, often people say to me, kailangan show money. No? Yes, you need to be able to show na meron kayong pera, meron kayong asahan pagka nandito na nga kayo, meron kayong pera na gagastusin. No? But there's no limit. Again, it's one of those myths that go around, chismis lang, that you need to be able to show, £1,000 or £10,000. Wala po. No? There's no sum that they actually specify. It also depends on circumstances. Dahil kung nandito kayo, papasok nga kayo dito, titira kayo sa magulang nyo o kaya sa kapatid nyo, then you don't have to pay necessarily for hotels. So, kailangan nyo nga lang pakita is yung pocket money. Okay? It could even be, and this certainly applies to a lot of my clients, that the sponsor, the one inviting in the UK, they're the ones who will pay for everything. So, in which case, you don't necessarily need to show it, but you need to explain it. And I'll come back to that nga. Now, where will you stay? No? Kung hindi kayo titir sa kamag-anak, mga kaibigan, then you need to show a hotel or Airbnb. No? Now, important also is what's your purpose? No? Kailangan nyo sabihin din. No, so kung meron kayong party, no, someone's special birthday, no, someone's 75th birthday. One of my friends celebrated her 75th birthday not too long ago. So if you're coming here to join her or to join your friend nga to celebrate a milestone birthday, yeah, sabihin nyo nga din yun. And also importantly, and this is something that's often forgotten, no, pagka nagpapasok ng mga tao ng application, is what you have to go back to, because it goes to intention. No? Lagi silang nagdududa, unfortunately, no, hindi man lagi, but yeah, no, lagi silang nagdududa for normal applications nga, is this person going to leave, no, the UK again? So, kailangan nyo din sabihin, what do you have to go back to? Okay, maybe nandun pamilya nyo, but that on its own may not be enough. Kung nag-aaral kayo, o meron kayong trabaho sa atin, o meron kayong negosyo, say that also. Now, how do you say it? Yeah? Statements. No? I don't mean bank statements. Statement po, by that, it's like an affidavit. Kailangan nyo sabihin doon, anong sitwasyon nyo. Okay? If you're being invited by someone, I would also advise na magbigay din sila ng statement nga. Okay? So, whenever I make an application nga for visit visas para sa mga kliyente ko, I prepare at least 2 statements. One for the applicant, no? And then the other one for the sponsor. And then put together, hopefully the Home Office nga will be convinced that it's a genuine visit visa application and that you will be leaving the United Kingdom before the visa nga expires. Now, yung statement nyo, yung affidavit nyo nga, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can also be a letter, but I like to prepare statements because it gives it a formality nga, no? And normally I would start by saying tapos yung pangalan nga, make the statement knowing the same to be true, and then do it in numbered paragraphs. Don't do it don't do it like just kind of a long paragraph. You need to number it because it just makes it a bit easier nga, no, the structure a bit easier to follow for the Home Office. So lagay niyo doon saan kayo nakatira, no? So if you're preparing this as the applicant, saan kayo nakatira sa atin? Anong ginagawa niyo doon, no? Anong date of birth niyo? Okay? So you will probably say something along the lines of, I, and then pangalan nyo, live at, address nyo nga sa atin. I make this statement in support of my application for a visitor visa to enter the United Kingdom. My post entry is on, lagay nyo din, no? Anong balak nyo? Okay? Tapos lagay nyo doon, anong sitwasyon nyo? Anong ginagawa nyo sa atin? Nag-aaral ba kayo? May trabaho ba kayo? Wala ba kayong trabaho? No? So, and anong gagawin nyo nga dito? So, explain that. Yeah? Kung hindi nga lang kayo, meron kayong kasama, again, say it. Okay? Now, for your sponsor, kailangan lang sabihin. So, for my clients, when I'm preparing statements nga for their sponsors, usually they deal with the practical things. So, silang nag-iimbita eh. So, sasabihin ko nga doon, again, starting with a similar way, yung pangalan nga nila, anong ginagawa nga nila dito, kung Brito nga sila na dito, o kaya indefinite leave to remain, they're inviting friend or family, anong relationship nyo, no? Saan sila titira? Okay, so you say there, okay, I work as you can say I work as a solicitor. I'm inviting my friend to enter the United Kingdom. I ask that she stays with me for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. I'd like to be able to show her London, anywhere else. No, lagay nyo nga doon. Yeah? Na huwag nyo din kalimutan, lagay nyo doon, kung nagtatrabaho nga kayo, magkano sweldo nyo? No? Because you need to be able to satisfy the Home Office that pagka nandito na kayo, na meron kayong pera, meron kayong asahan, kung hindi maggaling sa bulsa yung pera, no? And meron kayong titirhan. Yeah? So, importante po yun. So, the Home Office wants to see what's the basis of the application, that is the correct basis. Yeah? You're not looking to work dito, if you're rather than a skilled worker. You're not looking to study necessarily in the UK, and there again, to come in as a student nga. So those things, importante pong sabihin nyo. Okay? And of course, marami kayong pera. Provide your bank statements. Say, what it is. But also you don't need to add to your savings, and don't make it up. No, you should be frank nga. You should be honest with your application and documents nga that you submit. So kung wala nga kayong ganong pera, don't get a loan to show that you have £1,000 on top, because you need to explain that. And if they see na suddenly, sabihin natin, meron kayong 100, tapos yung 100 ay naging 1,000,000, na pesos, then they will say, saan ang galing yun and why? So sometimes people are refused because they think, you're making up the documents, the information, and so that then goes against the credibility of your application. Okay. So, importante nga po yun. So, if you don't take anything else nga from tonight, importante po you explain it properly. And that you do by way of nga statements. Now, if you have a solicitor, kung meron kayong abogado, gagawa nga nito, then they should also prepare legal representations. Ako, when I have clients that I apply for visit visa, as I've said, I have at least 2 statements, one from the sponsor nga and one from the applicant. And yung legal representations ko, that's where I bring in both, no? So when I make the legal representations, I say, okay, this is what you need, what my client needs to satisfy in order to be able to be granted a visit visa. She satisfies it because, no? And then I deal with the legal reps. And then I also take certain sections now from the statements. So I would sometimes say, can be noted from paragraph 3, and then I actually quoted, that she's looking to stay in the UK for some 3 weeks in order to, and then sasabihin ko nga din, it's for you really to explain to the Home Office why are you coming in, and that it's a genuine application nga, okay? And that you're not looking to overstay, you're simply coming in nga to visit, right? Now, what happens though if you get refused? There are essentially potentially three ways of doing something about it, no? So if you get refused, it could be na hindi niyo binigay yung lahat ng mga kailangan nila, and you may just want to make a new application. Okay? Kung hindi nga sapat ang binigay nyo. If you think nagkamali nga sila, they didn't look at one document nga, or they misconstrued it, then you may wish to challenge it by way of what's called administrative review. That hardly ever works, frankly. Administrative review is carried out by the Home Office for the Home Office. So it's rare that they actually change their minds, but it has happened, not often. In some cases, you can appeal, but really, again, limited. And it's not something I generally advise people to do, because an appeal will be on human rights grounds. So, pagka nagpapasok yung application and you are looking to visit family members in the UK, also in your legal representations, I always say, of course, they need to have regard to Article 8. Article 8 is right to family, when they're dealing with the application. Basically, if they refuse it and there's an Article 8 element, it could be that you have a right of appeal. But generally, visit visas do not have a right of appeal. Okay. But that's another story. Challenging visa refusals nga. And maybe we should have a topic on that sometime nga, because that's actually quite an interesting one. So yun, it's not hindi nga pala hindi nga lang yung basta-basta. But let's not forget, of course, the question. I always do this, no? I go on and on and on. Tapos I've forgotten the initial question. So ang star question natin, let me just read it again, no? Okay lang po ba twice a year mag-visit dito sa UK ang parents ko. 60 years old, magstay sila maximum 6 months every visit po nila. Pwede po bang mag-apply ng visit visa pabalik ng UK kahit 1 week pa lang sila sa Pilipinas? Yun ang question. So thank you again for that question. Let me deal with that specifically. Because I want to deal with it specifically. That again, it's one of those visit visa myths, no? Chismis nga lang, hindi totoo. And so I'm quite keen to put it straight. So una po ito, starting point is, so tanong nga niya, the 6 months, pwede bang 6 months each time, no? Or sometimes sabi ng mga kliyente ko, actually I had a client a couple of weeks ago, kala niya 6 months na, mabigyan nga siya 6 months. And she would only she was then counting the time nga na nandito siya, making up 6 months. That's actually also not correct. So tingnan natin, starting point po is whether you have a multiple or single visit visa. Kung multiple, ibig sabihin pwede kayong lumabas-pasok, no? More than once. Okay. And as long as your visa is still valid. Okay. Kung single, isang beses lang, of course. Most people apply for multiple visas. Now, second consideration po is the length of your visit visa. Now, I'm not saying that you can stay in the UK for all the time that you have that visit visa. So, for example, if you only were granted a 6-month visit visa, then of course you're allowed only in the UK during the time of that visa. No? So, kung bigyan kayong visa nga ngayon, you're only allowed the date, anong pecha natin ngayon, so I think what's that? Today's the 2nd of April, no? 2nd of April nga, diba? 2nd of April. Anyway, so it's so you then would have 6 months. That would be on your visa, huh? Okay, we're not looking at 6 months from the date you entered the UK. That would be on your visa. So so whilst your visa is ongoing, then you are allowed to stay in the UK. You do not get an automatic renewal or additional time beyond the expiration of your visa just because you entered shortly before its expirations. Some 20 years ago, maybe less time than that, they count you when you entered, then you get given 6 months. Hindi na po yun. Kailangan nyo tingnan mismo yung visa. Yung visa nga, the date of the expiration is the date it actually expires. Now, multiple visit visas can be issued for, say, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Okay, I haven't seen a 10-year multiple visa for a long time, but recently I saw a 2-year one. Okay, in this case, how long can the visitor stay in the UK? You can stay in the UK a maximum of 6 months per stay. Okay, you don't have to count from the 1st of January to the 31st of December and then see if you've gone over the 6 months nga. It's 6 months po each stay. Okay? Kung multiple visa kayo, and of course you were given a visit visa nga for longer than the 6 months period. So you can return, of course, in the UK whilst your visa is still valid, but you can only stay maximum 180 days, so 6 months each time. If you stay beyond that, then you are in breach of your immigration conditions. So don't do it. No? So practically speaking, tingnan natin, okay, kung 2-year visa, multiple visa kayo, visit visa, sabihin natin valid to the 28th of March 2026. No? Now you can visit the UK as often as you would like, no? Up to the 26th of March 2026, but you can't stay for longer than 180 days during each visit. Okay, so it's not added up, cumulatively to say 6 months. So you can stay during that time 6 months at a time. But ito, and this kind of deals also with the question. Beware of frequent visits to the UK. Now, look, if you have a if you're fortunate enough to just be able to travel, have a great time nga, and that's you don't need to work, no? Or indeed maybe it's you've taken a sabbatical, no? Then great, you can do that, but beware every time if you're coming into the UK very, very frequently. So you're more in than out. No, it could be the immigration officers may be concerned. No, and they will likely question you. Okay, and of course just tell them. No, and why it is that you're coming into the UK quite frequently. So let me apply that though to the great question. So sabi nga niya dito, parents niya 60 years old, magstay nga sila maximum 6 months. Now, when you say maximum 6 months, it's actually the date of the visa nga mismo, hindi 6 months from date of entry. So mag-ingat nga lang sila. 6 months po, kung bigyan sila ng 6 months, sabihin natin binigyan sila ng 6 months last month. Ngayon pa lang sila papasok. Then they only really have 5 months left. Okay? So tignan mo yung expiry date ng visa nga nila, and that is the date that they must be out of the country by then. Okay? Now, sabihin natin na bigyan nga silang 6 months nga ngayon. They have a great time. They stay here for 6 months. Yeah? And tapos, uli sila sa atin. Now, they then say, well, namimiss ko nga, naku uli, and wala na akong ginagawa dito, we're retired. I want to go back to the UK. And they want to apply for another visit visa. Yes, absolutely. You can do that. No? Even if they're only there, say 1 week nga. But if you do that, make sure, yung sabi ko nga, yung statement, yung affidavit nyo, no? Affidavit nila, you must explain there why they're coming in so shortly after leaving the United Kingdom. And it can be anything, no? It could be, uwi nga sila, they accept the limitations of their visa, and anyway, meron nga silang inaasikaso sa atin, nandun sila for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks nga, ganon. And then they're looking to come into the UK because they want to be in the UK for the summer, for example. No, because you actually have some time off, or for Christmas if it's a little bit later on, or for Easter. Of course, Easter's coming up. No, so you need to explain it. So the answer is they can stay for the maximum of their visa, which is usually 6 months. But beware the expiry date is actually on the visa itself. Yeah, it's not 6 months from the date of entry. At saka, beware also, pagka nagpasok kayong panibagong application for visit visa ulit, it could be that you find that you need to work that much harder to make sure that indeed it is that you explain why it is that they're coming back to the UK so shortly. Otherwise, why don't you see about making an application for longer than 6 months nga lang? Kung ang plano nga, they're retired, they want to be able to come to UK and see you on a regular basis, and they don't have to then stay for the maximum 6 months at any one time, apply for longer. No, apply for 2 years. But as I say, even though 2 years ang visa nila, hindi ibig sabihin 2 years sila pwede dito na dire-diretso. It still means 6 months maximum. And I say again, beware, if they're here more longer than they're out, then you may find that the Home Office may get concerned about the genuineness of their intention to stay in the UK. Okay? So I hope that was of help to you. I like talking about visit visas because it's one of those areas in immigration law that's often full of myths, chismes. And I don't really know how it goes, why it goes around like that. So I hope that I put some issues straight. Now, I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, I certainly did. Now comes, speaking of enjoyment, comes the my favorite, absolute favorite part of our show and that is our batian section. So hopefully, someone saying hello to me. Oh, hopefully, you're all saying hello to me. Kung nanonood kayo, tapos yun, nahihiya nga kayong bumati, just between us, say hello, okay? Now, okay, out ka, sabi yan, nice topic, no? For sure, many are visiting the UK now this school vacation. Yeah, tama ka. Easter is a couple of weeks, no? It's still late Easter at the moment, but it's a couple of weeks. Tapos we then summer. Yeah, lots of visitors. So tingnan natin. So let me have a look. Guy, the great guy from London. Warm. Tama ka, Guy. No? Warm Thursday to Attorney Lira and to the viewers. Sabi niya, work from home today. Okay, and taking care of Justin. Justin is his little boy. So I was going to say little boy. Justin is his big boy. Still good news, Attorney Lira. I'm still tap send ambassador. Congratulations. No? It's money remittance to Pilipinas. Bonus of £15 for first-time user. Looking forward to lots of learning again. And to Attorney Lira's lovely voice. Guy, the great guy. Guy's a great guy. He is actually. He's a devoted dad, and he works really really hard. Like a lot of us. A lot of us. So now, Miss Paner, Mariam Galicia Paner. Hello po, Tony, sabi niya. At sa lahat, happy Thursday po, happy watching po. God bless everyone. No, God bless, Miss Paner. We have been together. I know Miss Paner was messaging me, was doing broadcast 5 years ago. No? Late. Sabi niya, late na po ako. What's a few minutes between friends, Miss Paner? No? Yeah. But actually, even though you're late, given the fact that we've been together for at least 5 years nga, I forgive you. Miss Jones, Marilyn Jones, happy Thursday evening, Attorney Lira, and all viewers. Cup of tea on the side. Let's enjoy the topic. Miss Jones, Miss Jones, truly, nakita nga kami 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago nga. She does not age. It's a bit creepy. She just does not age. I don't know what it is. Natalia de Guzman. Good evening, and to the viewers of this program. Good evening, Natalia. I love this photo of you. Really lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. No, Miss Tomas, Lola Tomas. Hi, Lira. It's me again. Nice to see and hear you. Another person who just does not age. I also saw Miss Tomas couple of weeks ago nga. Truly, yung dalawang taong yon, it's slightly creepy. They don't age. They look exactly the same. Like the last time nakita tayo was 5 years ago. No, 5 years ago. They look exactly the same. And before that, we see each other like every not often enough from my point of view nga. But it's they don't age. Miss Paner sabi, opo, it's already 5 years na po. My madam, no? It's, yeah, 5 years. Because inumpisa natin to nung pandemic, di ba? No? Wow, 5 years na. Astonishing. 5 years. Now, I think that maybe our greeters for the moment nga. Now, if you're watching, you want to say hello, nahihiya nga kayo, huwag kayong mahiya. Just between us. Now, okay, I mustn't forget, we should go back to the other question. So, sandali nga. Now, let me have a look. Now, sabi po ni, hi, Attorney Lira, sabi po niya, I have a question po about ILR. ILR is indefinite leave to remain, otherwise known as settlement. No? Pwede po bang pagdugtungin ang 2.6 2 years, 6 months siguro, parent visa, sa 2.5, 2.5 years, FLR, spouse visa, FLR, family leave to remain, no? Same family po ang ama po ng anak ko ay asawa ko, salamat. No, is the quick answer. Unfortunately, it's actually it's great that you asked this topic, this question. It's one that I'm asked quite a lot. No, you can't. You need to satisfy 5 years in one of the of each category. So, kung spouse visa, it has to be 5 years nga. Again, parent visa, it has to be 5 years on that basis. So, unfortunately, hindi niyo pwedeng pagdugtungin. Pwede yung pagdugtungin, just take it one step further. Sabihin natin, under the long residence route. So, I've had clients, so in your case, it could be 2-year parent visa ka. Tapos, you got married, you made an application nga as a spouse dito nga, and then you got, say, 2.5 years. May nangyari, no? Hindi nga, you could not then extend on the family visa, and then you decided actually you're going to work, no? And then you get then skilled work route visa. another 2.5 years. Tapos may nangyari uli, no? Na you meet someone again. Sabihin natin you then became, you then get a spouse visa uli. Kung lahat yun dugtong-dugtong, 10 taon, then you can make an application under the long residence route. Okay, so yun. But yeah, unfortunately, the answer is no, you can't. Not 2.5 years parent with 2.5 years spouse visa. There you go. Okay. Now, meron pa tayong questions. I'm pretty sure. Oh, okay. Ito po. So, hello po. Skilled worker po ako dito sa sa UK, no? Okay, sorry. Matatapos po ang contract ko sa November. Okay? Gusto po sana magstay dito, mag-work. Okay? Pwede po bang mag-apply sa ibang company bago matapos ang kontrata ko? At paano po kayang magandang gawin para hindi ako umuwi sa Pilipinas? Salamat po. So, skilled work visa. Now, pwede nyo palitan yung trabaho nyo. But of course, kung papalitan yung trabaho nyo, kailangan may sasalo sa inyo. Kailangan yung panibagong trabaho, may lisensya din sila, no, as a sponsor. And they would need to issue you with a new cost, a new certificate of sponsorship. So it's a new application. So as long as you can do that, you can change employment. Just be careful also, may kontrato nga kayo, may kontrata ka sa until November. Just make sure nga that you satisfy all the terms of the contract, giving notice and on. So you can, but you need to get a new job yung sponsor mo has a license, and as I say, you need a new course, and it's effectively a new application. Okay? So you can do that. Now, meron pa tayong mga question, I think. So sandali nga lang, tingnan natin. Let me have a look here. Oh, si Natalia, sabi po niya, Natalia de Guzman. My friend would like to ask this. I'm a Filipino citizen who's been working in the UK on a tier 2 general work visa for the past 2 years. Recently, I got married to a British citizen and we're considering applying for a spouse visa. However, I've encountered a potential issue. My work contract is coming to an end in 3 months. And while I've been looking for a new job, I haven't secured one yet. My question is, if I don't find a new job before my contract ends, will my tier 2 let me have a look at my visa automatically expire, and will that affect my spouse application? If so, what steps should I take to ensure that my application for spouse visa is not jeopardized by this gap in employment? Okay, so let's just unpack that a little bit. Let me go back to the top. So all right, so tier 2 visa at the moment. So you have a tier 2 visa for the past 2 years. You then married, you're looking at potentially applying to vary that visa to a spouse. Now, your contract is ending in 3 months. And while I've been looking for a new job, you haven't secured one yet. Oh, I see. Okay, so you're still continuing to work with the same employer that provided you with the cost, the certificate of sponsorship, but you haven't found a job yet. And so your question is, what happens if there's a gap in your employment? Now, first thing is this: you'll find that your old employer, or rather your current employer at the moment, is obliged to inform the Home Office if you're no longer with them. They have to. And so that may then lead to what they call curtailment of your visa, if you have a longer visa. And that, if it's curtailed before you apply for spouse visa, you may find that, yes, absolutely, that may jeopardize, that may put in danger your visa, because then you then breach your immigration condition. You don't want that. Okay? Now, in that situation, the first thing is, so you have a little bit of time. So it's good you're looking at it now. You have a little bit of time. You're already here on a skilled work visa or tier 2 visa for 2 years, which means most of the time you just need another 3-year visa and as a skilled worker, and then you can make an application likely for indefinite leave to remain. Okay? Now, so I would say plan A is likely, may well be better to apply first to see if you can get another job, a sponsor who's going to issue you with a cost. You get the cost. You're working for a new employer nga, for another 3 years, culminating to 5 years. Okay, Plan A. That way, you only just need then 3 years. Plan B, if you're finding it hard to find a job and there's no way of extending it with this current employer, or maybe you're moving, okay, then of course you can make an application for a spouse visa. So then you're making an application for two things, but only one application. You're applying to vary your leave to remain from that of under the skilled worker route or tier 2 route to that of a spouse. Yeah? The application is called FLRM. And in that case, you need to satisfy different conditions, of course, as a spouse. Beware of the income. But in this case, because you are here quite properly working, you can actually join your income to that of your spouse. So you can, so let's say your income is £15,000. The minimum income requirement has gone up to £29,000. But your spouse earns £15,000 also. Together, you satisfy it, and you can put it together. It doesn't have to be just his or her income now. Okay? So so that would be Plan B. You can vary your leave to remain, but beware. Going back, actually, we to the other question. You need, even though you have had say 2 years under skilled worker route, you cannot join that with the 2.5 years, a spouse visa, culminating potentially to 5 years, well, culminating to 5 years, and then applying for indefinite leave to remain. You have to complete 5 years, or near enough 5 years, as a spouse. You can't join the other, the skilled work route. Okay, so that would be so it's really a question of what's practical for you. If you're finding actually, they're not really going to renew your contract, they're not going to extend your leave, you're not going to be able to extend your leave to remain, then you should apply to vary your leave to remain, obviously before your visa under the skilled work route is going to expire. That's quite important. You must vary it before it expires, because if it expires and then you make an application, then you may fall under you will fall under a different rule altogether, which would make it harder, because then they may say, well, okay, spouse visa, or you can submit an application, but then we need to consider it under a different rule, which may then require what's called exceptional circumstance, and that is a very hard thing to satisfy. Okay, so just be careful. Great question, no? Great question. So next question po ito. Hi po, magtatanong lang po ako. Kailan po yung right time mag-process ng visa extension? Mag-expire po this 1st of August ang skilled worker visa ko. Yung husband ko naman din po ang same expiration as me. Salamat. So, both husband and wife, nandito sila, skilled worker nga sila, matatapos na nitong 1st of August. The guidance provides that you should make an application no earlier than 28 days before your visa is due to expire. So, 1st of July, it would be. You can submit your application a little bit later than that, and that will still be okay, nga. But not really much earlier than the 1st of July, okay? Because that's 28 days before your visa is going to expire. Now, I don't know if there are mga questions actually, or greeters nga. It could be, Miss Rafael! We love Miss Rafael. Hello, Attorney Lira, and happy Thursday, everyone. Still watching from San Pedro, Laguna. Tingnan mo, madaling araw sa atin. Miss Rafael is up and watching. Salamat po, madam. Well, so I hope you're having a great time, no? Ingat ka, no? Ingat ka, because I know that I don't think we were hit, but of course, there was a massive earthquake, no, in Myanmar, and of course Thailand was also affected nga. So hopefully you're okay, no, Mr. Fred? Ingat po. So have a great time. Natalia de Guzman said, thanks, Miss Lira. Your practical answers are really helpful. Thanks for giving my friend different options too. No, my pleasure. Always my. No, it's always a pleasure, and I like these questions, nga, no, because they're practical. No? And I like to give practical, I mean, at least to try and point you in the right, hopefully in the right direction nga. And I say again, no, kung meron kayong problema, especially kung komplikado, and sometimes you think it's actually quite simple, but it's really not. You must seek advice. You must seek legal advice. Happy to point you, no, and what may be of help now, but nothing beats proper full legal advice. No? Now, gosh, ang bilis ng panahon, no? Gosh, we're already used up na 1 hour already. I do like talking far too much, I am told. So great questions po. Salamat ulit. I hope that that's of assistance to you. And look, again, salamat po sa inyong lahat for long-time friends, viewers nga, and Facebook groups for allowing us to post our contents on their page. I'm grateful, always. Remember, if you send your questions nga by next Wednesday, then I will try my best nga to go through them. And it could be now that you get some serious bragging rights by being the star question. And as you know, your star question, we deal with your topic in quite a bit more detail, which hopefully is of help now to you. So thank you very, very much, Paul, for keeping me company on our usual Thursday evening. And thank you very much for watching me, even from the Philippines. No, I'm always humbled, by the attention that you provide, and that you take your time and stay with me. Always grateful. So I hope that you enjoy the next few days that are going to be apparently warm. Apparently. And I hope you don't catch a cold like I have nga. Meron akong sipon nga ngayon. So if I'm sounding a bit nasally, that's because I'm bummed up. So just leaves me really to say thank you again po. I hope that you'll be able to join me next week for our next installment of Lira in Law, our usual Thursday get together. So see you soon, same time, same place. Good night.